here and we can start together. So hello everyone who joined our live stream about camp counselor in the United States. I know that you guys have been asking me so many questions about summer job opportunities in the United States, and today I have a special guest. Madison is a former ETA from Slovakia, and she has plenty of experience being a camp counselor. So today we are gonna dive into this topic and this opportunity even for this summer. So if you are still not sure what you're going to do in the summer, this is a live stream exactly for you. Stay tuned. If you have questions, please post them into the comment section, and we are really happy to answer throughout the presentation. So I'll start with introducing myself a little bit, introducing Education USA, and then I'll leave it to Madison, who will talk about the camp counselor. So my name is Hani, and I am the Education USA Czech Republic advisor, but we do have a nice relationship with Slovakia, so we do things together. My main job is to help high school students apply to US universities and colleges. So if we go to the next slide, Madison, please. You can see that Education USA provides free services and up-to-date and unbiased information about study opportunities. I understand that not everyone wants to go and get their bachelor's degree in the United States, and I would love to encourage you to go for shorter visits or even work visits. So that's exactly how I started. I just didn't do camp counseling. I did work and travel program, and it was wonderful. And I just improved my English so that I then started studying throughout my master's in the United States. So anything you can do, I am happy to help, and Education USA offers it free of charge. Education USA on the next slide shows that we are based, our main center is based in the Fulbright Commission in Prague, but there are other centers, the American centers, that can also provide information about study and other opportunities in the United States. If you are not from these cities, don't worry, we are in the 21st century. Please let me know via email. It's advisor@fulbright.cz, and just let me know your questions. And I'm happy to either schedule an online meeting with you or an in-person meeting, whatever suits you the best. And lastly, before it's Madison turns, I would like to share that we offer free consultations. So if you have questions, if you just don't know where to start, it's exactly what you should do. Email me or send me a message through Instagram, and I am so happy to reply, and we can start working on your dreams come true. We also have a library, so if you are currently preparing for your SATs or TOEFL or other exams, you can stop by and borrow books. And we also prepare our events and webinars and live streams such as this one. But the events, we are planning a big event in June. It's going to be an in-person event in Prague with other students and other applicants to the United States. So it's going to be free. You can definitely stop by, and it's going to be on Tuesday on the 25th. So everything will be posted on our Facebook and Instagram. You'll find us there under Education USA Czech. And with no further ado, Madison, it's your turn. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Yes, so like it was already said, I'm going to talk today about being a camp counselor in the U.S. It's the perfect time to be thinking about it because this is right when everyone is hiring, and we'll talk about all of that today. So here's the agenda for today. I'll introduce myself and who I am. Then we'll talk about what a camp counselor is, what they do, why you might want to do it. What does a typical day look like? And then we'll talk about when are camps in the U.S. because there's a big variety. And then how do you find camps and how do you apply? So we have kind of a lot to cover. But first, this is me. I just graduated in the spring, and I got my Bachelor of the Arts in theater directing, and then I minored in American Sign Language. And as she said, I am a Fulbright Slovakia English teaching assistant. I just got home 2 weeks ago tomorrow. So I was just in Slovakia. I had a great time, and I was in Prague for a little bit, and I got to meet with Hani. So it was very nice to be there and to travel. But in the summers, I'm also a camp counselor. I've been a camp counselor at Interlochen Arts Camp for 3 years. Now, I will say before we get going, Interlochen, because it's an art camp, it has a little bit different structure than some other summer camps, but I will make sure to point out those differences when we get to them. So, I've heard from being in Slovakia that you may also call this a camp animator, but I'm assuming they are the same thing. So a camp counselor, it looks different at every place that you go, every camp that you're at, but some things that you might do are sleep in a cabin with campers. I always had between 8 and 16. You'll guide campers in many different ways. So you'll tell them where to go. When they first get here, you'll answer a lot of questions. A lot of what you're doing is orienting them to the space. So helping them know where things are, where events are, what time they need to be at things, getting them up in the morning, things like that. When I say volunteer, it's pretty common in most summer camps for camp counselors to have some additional tasks past what you may think a camp counselor would do. So for me, at Interlochen, we had our normal camp counselor position where we would also work in an office, and we would have some office shifts, like answering phones or getting packages and mail for campers. And then we would do a roving shift, which is where you walk around and make sure that like everyone is okay, no one's in trouble, no one needs your help or doing anything bad. But then we would also have a secondary job, which every camp is going to be different, like I said, but you might have a secondary job, which is just where you help somewhere else on the camp, especially if they're understaffed. So I always helped with the mail room. My first year, I drove in the mail truck and delivered mail everywhere. It was very fun. And then my other years, I have worked in the mailroom again, and I've also delivered packages in my little division, which maybe sounds the same, but it was a little different. There's lots of jobs that you can fill in for. So you may fill in at different activities, different parts of the camp. A big one is usually helping serve food. Not in you're not cooking the food, but just scooping it out for campers. And then probably I would say the biggest portion of being a camp counselor is leading activities, events, and group games. So you can see all these pictures are mine. So this is one of my cabins from my second year, and we got really close. We take group pictures every summer, so it was nice. Some of them are missing, but this is most of my campers, so this is a typical size, I would say. This is from over here in the bottom right. This is from an event we did, I think, for the 4th of July, and I'm on the back of this go-kart, and we are singing songs. Some people passed out candy. It is an arts camp, so it's oops. So they had some skits and some dances that they were doing. And then up here at the top, that's my arm. I'm giving cotton candy to an event that we did every summer called Mardi Gras. If you've heard of Mardi Gras, it's based on that name, but it's an event for all of the campers where they come around and visit different booths, and we have different activities set up for them, like glitter tattoos or button making or so many different things. I do also want to say, if you are not someone who thinks that you would be able to lead group games or crafts, or you don't feel that you are super energetic or anything, I think camp counseling can be for anyone. I'm going to show you this slide now that says why choose camp, but you don't have to be super high energy all the time. I definitely am not. I need time to relax, to be still. There's also campers who need the same thing. So if you're thinking, I'm not sure, it sounds fun, but I don't know if it would be for me, I think you should still check it out, because they're all different types of personality types and kinds of people are great camp counselors, and all different kinds of people are campers, so they need someone to guide them as well. When I had those events that I was talking about, I usually had like the softer, more quiet activities like button making. I loved button making, or coloring, friendship bracelet making. So if you think there's nothing for me, that's not true. There definitely is. And you don't have to know all of the songs at first. They'll teach you all of the songs. I definitely, during my training, they taught me so many songs, and they tell you everything that you need to know. So if you think it sounds fun, but you don't think it's for you, I think you should definitely give it a try. And there might be a little gap where you're not sure what's going on, but everyone will help you. And I have some more reasons here that I think you should definitely be a camp counselor. So here you can see another picture of my cabin. This is the same group, but it's just like a more silly picture. And I think it shows that camp is very, very fun. Here's another picture at the top from 4th of July with my friend Carol, who was dressed as the sun. I don't know if anyone listening knows what the Teletubbies are, but everyone was dressed as a Teletubby, and Carol was the baby sun from Teletubbies.
So Madison, I actually have a question, and I'm so happy that you keep repeating that everybody can find themselves, in the right spot in that camp. So you guys who are watching from the Czech Republic and Slovakia, you need to realize that these camps are completely different from what you are used to going when you were young, because these camps, and Madison will definitely explore it more, it's just different. It's bigger. It really cherish every personality and so forth. So it's not that everybody has to do the same thing like I was used to doing, at my summer camps. You see that they have these beautiful cabins. Like I used to sleep in a tent and we had to build the toilet. So this is different. And just keep listening, because I think you're definitely going to like it. But Madison, one more question for you. You mentioned there was a training where they taught you everything. Will we circle to that, or is that something that you would like to answer now?
Sure, we can talk about that now. Basically, my training, so they'll tell you the dates that you need to be at the camp. And the first week, typically, or maybe it might just be the first few days, that is your training time or orientation time. Like I said, every camp will do it differently. But for Interlaken, we were put into groups, and we would travel around with our group, and we would learn about what a day-to-day looks like as a camp counselor. We'd get trained on our jobs, like our small jobs that I was talking to you about. And we also get, at least at Interlaken, you got a lot of training about what campers are feeling. So how to deal with a homesick camper or a camper that's causing behavior issues, how to help get people involved. There's a lot of training about how to survive, especially if it's your first time. They tell you who to go to if you need help and everything like that.
That's very useful. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Were there any other questions about training?
Not yet. But if you guys have questions and watching the comment section, please post them. That's good.
Awesome. So another reason that I would say you should choose camp is definitely meeting all of the new people. It sounds like it's very different. I will say Interlaken is a bit of an outsider when it comes to the amenities or like where people sleep and things. They do have pretty big cabins. Interlaken is a very specific type of camp. You have to apply to get in, and the campers actually take classes all day about their art. So most summer camps are not the same in that way, but they might sleep in a cabin, or like you said, they might be in more of like a tent situation. So you should definitely research. If you want something that's more like this, I can help you find something that has more amenities like that. So yes, meeting new people, I would say, is definitely one of the biggest reasons to go. I met people from all over the world because they did bring international people in and really helped them get settled and things. You also get to explore a lot of nature. So Interlaken is in Michigan, which is near the Great Lakes, and it's near the top of the state, so it's kind of close to all of the water, and it's near to some like state parks, and beaches, so there's really pretty nature all over, and many summer camps are located in a place where there's lots of nature nearby, so that campers get to explore both sides. And then the last thing I'll say for this slide is that you really, really bond with your campers. And I like to make the joke that I like being a camp counselor because it's like getting paid to go to camp. It's definitely a hard job, I will say. Like, don't expect to just relax all summer. It's difficult. You're going to definitely have hard days, but it's so worth it. And I think it's just as fun, if not more fun, than going to camp as a camper.
I do have a question here in the comment section, and it says that the people on the picture, how old are they? Because they seem much older than campers that are usually on camps here in the Czech Republic and Slovakia. So what are the age groups usually?
Yes, so we're asking about this picture right here with the campers. Awesome. So this maybe, well, let me zoom in. I'm not sure. Okay, I can't zoom in, but this was a high school cabin. At Interlaken, at least, they are broken up into the juniors, the intermediates, which are in the middle, and then high schoolers. So these were the high school groups, and they are about between, I think this group was between 15 and 16, probably 14 to 16, somewhere in there. So every camp is different, but if you're younger, typically they'll put younger counselors with younger campers and older counselors with older campers, just so you keep that balance there.
Sure.
That's a good question.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
You are welcome. So I know a big question that I had when I was starting out my first year was, what does a day in the life look like? So this is, for me, a typical schedule. Of course, I know I keep saying it, but every camp will be different. And I will also say, typically I would have a little more free time than this, but I just wanted to give you an idea of what a busier day might look like. So we started at 6:40 in the morning with lineup, and it sounds so early, but you really get used to it. And at least at this camp, we are woken up by bugle calls, which is like someone plays an instrument and they sing a little trumpet song and they wake you up. So lineup just means you get the campers up and everyone wakes up for the day. They get dressed and they go out, and you get like announcements for the day. During this time, you have something called capers, which are like chores. It just means everyone's helping keep your space clean and your cabin clean. I think most camps, if not all camps, have some version of capers, even if they don't call it that. You all work together with your campers to keep your cabin clean. Then when everyone goes off to breakfast, someone grades how clean your cabin is, and they tell you if you passed for the day or not.
Okay.
People get very competitive.
I can imagine.
So then we have just a kind of a breakdown of what a normal morning would be like. I'd probably have some shifts, maybe an office shift or a roving shift, like I told you, answering phones, helping campers, walking around. A weekly meeting, I just put it on here as an example, but you probably would have some sort of meeting with your team. And then in the afternoon, like I said, I had free time pretty much every day. And people will like explore like around this town, or they'll just walk around the camp. And then you will notice here, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I put a time down, but most camps have like a set time. So like from 11 to 1, we're serving lunch. Any time that you can fit in, you go. So you can kind of form your own schedule in that way. And then at 6 p.m., rec time means like recreational time. So that's when you're playing games or doing activities, crafts, things like that. And the performances at Interlochen, we are an arts camp, so they would have rehearsals or performances sometimes in the evening too. Call to quarters, that means everyone goes back to their cabin for the night. You might call it something different. It might just be like, you might just have lights out. It might be like, go back to your cabin, but that's what call to quarters means. You're going back. And then lights out is at 10:30, which means lights out to everyone's going to sleep. In between this time, we also told little, like, we had something called bunk talk, which is where you speak to your campers. You might tell them a story, ask them a question, but you listen to them about your day. It was like always my favorite time. So that's a day in the life. Okay. So summer camps usually in the US between like late May, mostly in June. I would say June and July are the busiest months, but they can start as early as late May, right after schools end, and then they go until early August when schools start up again. Most camps, or many camps, have rotating campers, especially for younger campers. When you start, they might only be there for a week at a time, or like 2 or 3 weeks at a time. So you start with one cabin, then they'll leave, and then you'll get a new group of cabins or of campers. So because of that, not every camp, but some camps, especially if you're international, they might be a little better about helping you out with this. They will allow you to customize how long you're there for. So if you say, I can only be there for a month or for a month and a half instead of the whole summer, they can definitely work with you on that to make sure you are only there for when you can be. I definitely recommend trying to stay the whole summer, but if you can't, that's okay. Don't think that you can't go, because someone will help you out.
Yeah, especially because the school year here is so much different. Like our school finishes at the end of June and it starts in the September 1st. So you guys would have this July, maybe like 2 weeks at the end of June when the grades are finished and so forth. But it's great to know that the campers are rotating. So you will just let them know your time availability and you will make sure that it works for all of you.
Yeah, I would say especially if you're finishing at the end of June, it's great. Actually, Interlochen would be a great camp because they start at the end of June. Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit about where you would find different camps. You've heard of Bridge USA. If you're listening to this and you're interested in coming to the US, it might have come up before. If you type in this link right here, it'll take you to the page over here on the right. There's a little picture of it about how to be a camp counselor in the US, and it helps walk you through different parts of being a camp counselor. So just in case you don't want to type all that in, if you make it to the Bridge USA page and you go to programs, it has this whole list of not just being a camp counselor, but many other things. So an au pair, teaching, a physicist, if any of you are physicists. There's
But there's also like
others.
intern program, which is super exciting. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, so there's like so many different ways that you can go to the US. So if camp counseling is not your thing, that is okay. But right here, can you see my mouse? I think you can see it. There's a little button that says program resources, and then find a program sponsor and common questions. And those three buttons take you to pages that are pretty informative, and they tell you everything that they can help you with. And if you're looking for a camp and you really don't know where to start, finding a program sponsor would be really helpful, because those are camps specifically that have already partnered with Bridge USA and are more ready to bring international students. Not saying those are the only camps you can go to. It's definitely not. Interlochen, for example, is not a Bridge USA partner, but we bring international counselors all the time. So if you're looking for camps or anything else, this is a good website.
This is a great resource. Thank you.
You're welcome. And once again, here is the link right there. Or you can just type in Bridge USA. Okay, so then we have an example of how to apply. This is my last big slide, and if you have any questions, we can definitely talk about those. So I always find that this process of applying and like finding the application can be a little bit all over the place, because every single website or site or person is going to have it in a different area. So I have an example with Interlochen. If you go to interlochen.org/careers, it brings you up to this page over here. And there's kind of a lot of buttons you have to press to get to the actual thing that you want to go to. So first, they have a page down here that says find roles. So you might see something similar like that. Because Interlochen is also a year-round arts academy, we have two buttons right here that you can choose between. So you don't want year-round and arts academy opportunities, unless you do, in which case that'd be really cool. But if you are looking for just being a camp counselor, you want to click summer arts camp opportunities or anything similar on any other sites that you're looking to. And then at least for Interlochen, it lists all of their available jobs that they currently have listed. And this one is named cabin. I think it's cabin counselor is what it says. It's very small.
Yeah, I think so.
And then over here, you click like view information, and it brings you to a slide that looks like this. So here, it gives you a job description. It tells you what type of job. This is very important. It might tell you how long you need to be there, how much experience you need, any of the qualifications. A lot of places you do need to be 18. And then here to get the application, all you have to do is put your email address and press I agree and continue, and you're there. Super easy once you find what you're looking for. This also just has even more information about like the pay, job like description, so how much you're doing or what you're doing, what it will look like, and the actual dates that you need to be there. So that's just a brief overview. I'm not sure if there are any questions about this in particular.
There are actually. So the first question is if the person who is interested in coming, sorry, the question is in Czech, so I'm trying to translate. If they are responsible financially for the plane ticket when going over to the United States.
It depends on the camp.
Mhm.
I'm not sure about Interlaken specifically. If you're in the States, you are responsible for your own travel, but I'm not sure what that looks like for international students. However, our counselors, but I will say, from the people I've talked to, once you actually get here, they're very helpful about getting you the things that you need. So I know one person came from the UK and they gave her a new phone with a SIM card so she could talk to her family at home. And they'll help you as much as they can. If you don't have, like, if you're flying in, you don't have a car, people will help you drive around or get what you need. So in that way, they're very helpful. As far as getting over here, I'm not sure, and it'll definitely depend on the camp itself. But you can definitely mention that while you're applying, and they can write it into your contract if they are able to, so that you have it written down, which is super important.
That's really cool. Another question here is, if you have ever worked or met a Czech person on your camp.
Oh.
You mentioned there was a person from the UK.
Yes, I think that's as close. I mean, I've met some people from, like, maybe like Mexico and some people from South America. I'm not sure. I don't think I've met a Czech person, but I'm sure there's some there that I just haven't met. It's quite a big camp as well, I will say.
And I'll also add to that, like, I know 2 Czech girls who actually last year went to be a camp counselor in the United States, not at Interlaken, but other camps. So I know that it is possible, you can definitely go. I have another question, Madison. So another question is, what if I am a vegetarian? Is there an option to eat differently?
Yeah. Once again, it will depend on your camp. If you're at a bigger camp, they definitely will have options. At Interlaken, it's like a big buffet, and everything is marked with if it's gluten-free, if it's vegetarian or vegan, as well as any allergies. So you have a lot of options. I know that other people, even when they had a hard time with like a certain meal in the cafeteria, they would like order food or go out and get food and come back from somewhere close by. And because you have some free time, you're able to do that as well. We also we weren't allowed to keep food in our cabins just because of animals and mice and things. But we did have lockers that we could store our own food in. So there are lots of options to get food.
Good. One more question is, do I have to go alone or can I go with a friend? Like, is it possible that they would both get in and be at the same camp?
Yeah, I think if you apply for the same place, especially if you already know each other and you mention that you know each other, it might actually be a benefit. At many camps, you have a co-counselor, and I'm actually going to go back to show this picture right here. So I'm on this very far end, and then at the other end on the left, this is Cassie, and she was my unit leader, but she lived in the cabin with me. So we were kind of like co-counselors, which just means we help with the same cabin. It could be a plus if you have a friend to say we would like to come together. We could be co-counselors. We could help with activities together. And I actually know a lot of people in the US who do the same thing. They have like their camp person who they always work at a camp with. So I definitely think that's something you could mention and that they would be excited about.
That's very good. There is one more question. So do you, as a camp counselor, do you have to pay or everything is covered by the camp for you?
So if this is in reference to actually working at the camp,
Mhm.
they will pay you to be there. Every camp is different. I know I say that every single time, but you should definitely read those job descriptions very carefully so you know how much you're getting paid. As far as specific things while you're at camp, it depends. You can see everyone at Interlochen wears uniforms. They're pretty traditional in that way. Not many U.S. camps do that. But we did have to buy our own uniforms, or they also had some at camp that they would donate to us, but there weren't as many. So it was recommended that we bring our own, but if we didn't have them, they would make something work. A lot of things are like that. They tell you what to bring, and if you can't get it, they will do their best to help you find the item, or they might give it to you. Anything else that you really need, such as, I don't know, we had like some training materials that we kept for the whole time. They gave to us like lanyard, IDs, things like that, free. Some t-shirts they gave us for free. So it depends on what item you are looking for.
There is actually a very private question, but they're asking if you can share how much did you earn, like if it's worth it paying for your plane ticket from the Czech Republic, and if it will be worth it, and maybe if they'll earn money to travel later when the camp ends. So if you can share that information, if not, that's okay.
Yeah, I can. I think when I was a counselor, I'm not going back this year, so I'm not exactly sure what they are paying this year, but it goes up every year. I think last year I worked about 8 weeks and I made like 2,000, maybe $2,200, $2,300, which euro is very similar to the US dollar. So you can expect something a little similar if you're in Slovakia or a place that uses the euro. It's something very similar. So I don't know if that makes it worth it to you. It also, I think, depends on what you'll have to pay for once you're there. If you have, you know, many things to pay for, it might not be the job for you. As far as a plane ticket, I think that also depends. I'm not sure if they take those costs for you. Like I said, if they help pay for travel for international campers, or if they raise that at all, or counselors, or if they raise that at all for
And they'll be
international.
totally okay. I remember when being au pair, I had to pay for my own plane tickets because it was just the summer. If I was doing work and travel, I had to cover my own plane tickets as well as insurance. So guys, this is something you have to put on your weights, and you have to see like whether you want to stay in the Czech Republic with your family, or whether you want to travel, earn some money, improve your English, get some connections. And you know, sometimes it looks very good on your university application that you already have some connections to the US. So this is totally up to you. We're just showing you the opportunities that you have. And I think this is a wonderful idea. And I have never experienced an American camp. I only heard about them, and they sound amazing. And not many people can go as the campers, because sometimes they can get pretty expensive, those camps. But if you can experience it as a camp counselor and earn some money and improve your language, and then take 2 weeks off and travel around the States, you know, bring your friend. Come on, this is a wonderful summer, and then you come back. And as Madison said, to be a camp counselor, you only have to be 18. So whereas if you apply to work and travel, the requirement is that you have to be at a university. So this is amazing opportunity for everyone who is currently at high school, thinking about summer programs. And, you know, this is something you can do, and you only have to be 18 and probably like working with kids. So yeah. Okay,
Yeah, I did
cool.
also, could I add just one more
Yeah.
thing? When you're actually like at camp, your cost of like your day-to-day costs are super low because you're getting all of your meals there and you're sleeping in your cabin. So I will say, if that's something you're worried about, your actual costs day to day are pretty low while you're there. So I think it's definitely worth it if you can do it.
Good, good. I do not see any other questions here. So do we have any more slides, Madison?
I believe that was our last slide. Yes. Oh, I did just want to say, if you have any questions, you can definitely reach out to me. You can email me, or I have my Instagram, and you can send me a message. I would love to help you because I just think, especially if you want to go to Interlaken, that would be so exciting. But
That's
I
so
will
cool.
definitely help you. It doesn't have to be
Thank you.
Interlaken. Any camp, I'll help you.
Thank you so much. So please, guys, take a picture of this. It will be recorded on our YouTube channel as well. I'll put it in the Education USA newsletter so that you can go back to the information, search the Bridge USA website, and if you have questions, please get in touch with Madison. You can get in touch with me in Czech if that's more comfortable for you, or in Slovak. And oh, sorry, one more question. Are they testing our English level before going?
Not that I know of. I've definitely met people with varying English levels, and it also would be a benefit for you to have knowledge in other languages. They're always looking for people because we have a lot of international campers as well. So I think if anything, it's just going to benefit you.
Good. Awesome. So that is the last questions, guys. If you have more, or if you think about them tomorrow, you can always type them underneath the live stream and I'll circle back to them and either answer or ask Madison to answer you. So thank you so much for joining us today. Madison, thank you so much for introducing this wonderful summer opportunity to all of our listeners and viewers. And guys, I really think that now is the time to research your options and start planning your summer 2024. Thank you so much. Bye.